Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Effect episode 47. Off-season value risers. We're brought to you by Dynasty Theory in partnership with Dynasty Daddy, and as always, Fantasy Football Infinity. McSpanky and Holler are with me tonight. How's it going, guys?
It's good, man. I'm always amazed you get through that intro as well as you do.
Hey, thanks.
Every
for a
time
guy
you
that
do it,
can't
I'm
read,
like,
right?
I get tongue twisted and just end up being like, "Welcome to the show, guys."
It's all that Eminem I listen to.
He can actually read. So I'm impressed.
That's one of our biggest secrets is that Ron can actually read.
Yep. Shh! Don't tell anybody. It works better if people think I'm an idiot. All right, let's get into the news. The big news: the Reich has fallen. Anyway, okay, Frank Reich. We're not going back to 1940s Germany or anything like that. Don't worry, guys. Frank Reich and quarterback coach Josh McCown fired. Deuce Staley was also fired.
Right after we gave you reading comprehension.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
What the heck?
Ron's doing so great at reading, and then I just butcher that sentence.
We jinxed you. But yeah, dude, the Panthers, they cleaned house. It sounded like their owner walked out of the locker room and it was just like, nope, this isn't working. And just kind of cleared house. And dude, I don't know. I feel like that's 2 seasons in a row they fired a coach, and it just doesn't seem like it's a very functional place. I don't know if Coach Dan has updated his dysfunction rankings, but Carolina's got to be towards the top of those.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like they keep doing this. I think the problem is the owner, but you're not gonna do much with the owner. Obviously, they rule the house. But honestly, it's weird to me because I don't know if his name off the top of my head, but at the end of last year, the interim coach did really well. Right?
Wilkes.
He was like,
Steve
Wilkes.
He's
Wilkes,
the 49ers DC now.
Yeah, he did really well. So I think they should have maybe kept him, and who knows, but they need somebody new in house, and they need to actually let them,
well,
have the team. And
do you guys hear the story that like David Tepper brought the OC a play that he saw the Browns run like the week before? It was like, hey, I need you to call this on a piece of paper. And it's like, what do you do?
Man.
Like if
that's insane.
Your boss is micromanaging you that bad. Like, I guess you're like, well, I don't know, he's paying the bills. I guess I'm going to work this into a play call, but like, I don't know.
Well, what I do on a daily basis is I just stare at a wall when my boss tries to micromanage me even more. So I just get less work done. Like the more you tell me what to do, the less I'm going to do. I don't know.
100%.
Anyway.
Wow. Anyways.
Do we get into the injuries?
Yeah, let's do it. There's a long list.
I hope my boss isn't.
Quite a few, yeah.
Okay, Jonathan Taylor, thumb injury. He's expected to miss at least 2 weeks. He's having surgery. Could be more. We got Chris Olave in the concussion protocol, most likely out this week. I'm silently pumping my fists about that. Amari Cooper, the Lions.
The Lions. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm pumping my fist about it.
That needed
not very nice
clarification. I was like, hey, man, that injuries are serious.
Right. I like Olave too, but you can sit this one out. That's fine. Amari Cooper, he's got a rib deal. His x-rays were negative. He could miss some time. Dallas Goedert wants to play, and it doesn't look like Kenneth Walker will play. Anything big here?
Also, hold on. The big one down there is Aaron Rodgers, man. He opened up his 21-day practice window to come off the IR.
Oh yeah.
What? Well, I don't know where we want to start, but I don't know what the point of this is. It's like I think they're out of it. Yeah, obviously it's attention, but like they're not going anywhere. I mean, I feel like if he was there, they'd be pretty good. But I feel like I don't know exactly off the top of my head the standings, but they're 4-7, so they got to win quite a few in a row. And I mean, I know he doesn't move too much, but man, I just feel like if you're rushing this back,
video, yeah,
they're only 2 games out of the final playoff spot.
Okay, let's see the rest of the schedule though.
Yeah, that's a big one, like the rest of the schedule, and I just feel like you're asking to get re-injured, rushing back.
Okay,
and
so they have the Texans this weekend. They have the Dolphins.
That's less winnable.
Commanders.
Winnable.
Browns.
Ooh.
Patriots.
Okay, so they could go like 2-2 there. That's 4, right?
That's
4 games. You said, I think. Yeah, so they 5 games. So yeah, they could if they go 3-2, maybe they're back in.
Oh, sorry, I forgot a Falcons game in there.
Yeah, they put the Falcons this week, right? And then next week.
Oh, it's Texans. Sorry. Texans next weekend. Sorry. Yep, Falcons this weekend.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know. Maybe they get maybe this weekend. I don't know, but they're
the thing.
Starting Tim Boyle this weekend, so that's probably a loss, right? So they're probably really got to win out after there. But
they're part of my underdog parlay this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't gonna say anything, but
you guys always shit on my underdogs. I gotta pick somebody.
Well, how often do they hit?
Listen,
maybe I'll stop shitting on them if they win.
Twice. I hit twice this year.
Twice? Okay.
Yeah,
out of.
I'm not gonna divulge that information. Holler.
Just start counting the weeks because he does that about every week.
Yep, that's true.
But so I'll give you my rundown real quick of why they could, because Desmond Ridder definitely shoots himself in the foot enough for this defense to take advantage of it. And if the Jets defense special teams just win this game for them, a la the Cleveland Browns style wins and Pittsburgh Steelers wins of early in the season, that's what I think. I don't think it's because the Jets offense finds something, with Tim Boyle this weekend against Atlanta, but I think their defense is good enough to shut down Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, I don't know. My argument is I think that the Falcons can do just enough on the offense to because the Jets' offense is abysmal. So I don't think really that's Tim Boyle is not going to get you anything.
No,
the defense is going to have to score.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the big injury this week though is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, that sucks. Zach Moss, dude, the Moss King, he lives.
Yeah, hopefully you. Hopefully you picked up Zach Moss or got him earlier this season because I know this is a big time to have Jonathan Taylor, right? And you're not going to have him if you're like on the fringe for playoffs or if you are a playoff team. Honestly, I think he's going to be out more than 2 weeks. So going into the playoffs, you're not going to have him. Yeah.
Well,
are you trading a late second for Zach Moss?
If I'm a playoff team.
Yeah, late second.
Yeah.
How desperate are you? Because I don't know. Maybe
he's gonna go in. He's gonna go into your flex or be your running back 3.
I think at that rate I would have to, right? Because I lost. So say I had Jonathan Taylor or whatever, and I lost him, then I definitely would. I really would have to look at my roster and see if I'm really going to upgrade at my flex.
Especially too with this week with so many teams on bye, and if you had Jonathan Taylor, your bench is probably pretty decimated. Now you don't. I mean, with bye weeks and other injuries, you probably do need someone, especially if you're trying to if you're going for that first round bye or you probably do. Because honestly, if you think about it, your late second round picks, how often do those hit?
Exactly. Yeah. Would you go up to a mid if you're one of those fringe playoff teams?
No, that's where I draw the line.
Same.
Yeah, because Zach Moss isn't gonna really help me put me over the top, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'd rather just play it out, and if I lose and don't make the playoffs, I don't make the playoffs, and I'll keep that
trade a third for Antonio Gibson like Ron does when he's on the fringe of the playoff.
I didn't hate that though. I mean, a third round pick is whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You're only gonna find a Puka here and there.
I throw my third round. Our Tank Dell, dude. Tank went.
Yeah, Tank was. That's right.
Wow, I really regret trading that third now for Antonio.
Yeah, but there's for every Tank Dell, there's 100 other guys who never.
Yeah, sure. Should we get into these value risers?
Let's do it, man.
Okay, we got Mr. Roschon Johnson. He's the cover boy. He's our he's easy breezy, beautiful cover boy, Roschon Johnson. He's out there just kind of putting up mediocre stat lines. Why should I be interested in this guy on a dog crap offense? I edited myself there as we got through the sentence. Why should I be interested in that guy? This guy.
Well, so here's the thing. First of all, I don't think that coaching staff will be there next year, so that automatically helps. They have 2 probably top 5 picks, and hopefully they use at least one of those on offense, if not both. If they get offensive lineman and a receiver, that offense with a competent coaching staff all of a sudden looks a lot better. Right now, there's 3 running backs there. There's Roschon, there's Dante Foreman, and Khalil Herbert. Herbert's still under contract, so he'll be there. He'll be back next year. But Dante Foreman's on a 1-year deal. I doubt he gets re-signed. Roschon's been basically the third down back, and like if you look, like he's a crazy good pass blocker. So he kind of has that third down role on lockdown. I imagine another year under his belt in the offseason, he could start more getting closer to splitting carries with Khalil Herbert. And then too, like, you know, it is kind of ho-hum, but he's 4th on the team in targets. Like he's getting a ton of like, you know, passing targets in the passing game. So I think.
Can you name me the top 3 pass catchers?
DJ Moore, Cole Kmet,
Mooney, probably.
Mooney, I think. I had it up earlier. Let me look. It is Mooney.
And so Roschon was one of my guys when I was, you know, late second, early third. Most of the time I think I got him in like the late second. And I was just kind of stashing him because I figured that by the end of the season he would kind of take over, right? And I felt like last game he had a solid. Obviously, there's not like big numbers yet, but I think with a new like Spanky said, 2 high picks, I think one of them for sure they're going to take offensive line, and I'm hoping that they pick, you know, a wide receiver, or if they move on from Justin Fields, they're going to get a quarterback, and I think that young quarterback's going to want to lean on a running back, and I think that's going to be Roschon Johnson, because Roschon Johnson is a different running back than Khalil Herbert. Herbert is a bit smaller, more just that passing scat back is a good way to put it, I think. And Roschon is that third down back. So I think go out and get Roschon now, because I think the next couple weeks he's going to get more work and he's going to get more expensive.
Well, and
that's fair.
Too, he's running back 32 on FantasyCalc right now. So I think there's, with a weaker running back class coming in, 31, I misspoke. With a weaker running back class coming in, there's not like a ton of talent coming in to push him down. And I think some of the other guys in front of him are a little bit older. They might, you know, kind of, if they are free agents, maybe they don't sign, kind of like, you know, Zeke or Leonard Fournette this past year. There's just room to move up there. So I think, and he's a good talent too.
I think it will a lot depend on draft capital, but honestly, I think he could come, like, if he was coming out this year, he'd be probably like in the top 3 running backs, just because the ones that I don't have any confidence in these running backs coming out. It will really depend on draft capital for me and where they and where they land. And so I think Roschon is one of those guys that is only going to rise through the summer, and, you know, depending on what the Bears do in the draft, I think he might rise even more. So for my go get him as ASAP.
Plus, the other thing too is
team touches.
All you need for value to go up in Dynasty is just a good narrative, right? So the Bears, maybe they hire a good offensive head coach, maybe like Ben Johnson. Sorry, Ron. And then
Ben Johnson is not going to Chicago. He's not going to coach against Dave Campbell.
All I'm saying is if they get like a good offensive minded,
it's possible.
Coach, they draft like maybe one of the best tackles, and then maybe they get Marvin Harrison Jr. as well. All of a sudden, the Bears are, you know, the belle of the ball, and Roschon's the running back, and people can talk themselves into things. So it doesn't take a lot, and, you know, dynasty managers have fallen for a lot less. So
we 100%. What does the running back free agent class look like? What kind of? We have Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, Eckler, but he kind of seems to be on his way out, I guess. This is what people are talking about. There's some speed statistics going around about DeAndre Swift, Devin Singletary.
A lot of these bets, like, people don't want to pay them, and so Chicago already has Roschon under contract, and
and then Khalil as well. So they're going to get somebody super cheap. They're not going to go out and pay for one of those better vets.
Draft another rookie. They'll draft another rookie. You know, some guy in the late rounds. Okay. Should we get into your Holler? Let's let you go first. You got all the guys.
Yeah, so I have quite a few. One of that I wanted to touch on real quick is this one will rise depending on what happens like with the coaching staff and things like that. So Drake London, the reason I picked him as a riser is because he still is a really good player. And he's basically down right now. And, he's down to, I think you said wide receiver 26, I think it was.
Yep.
And so this offseason, when I was doing some startups, he was going like in the top 12 to 16, right? So he's down a bit. So he's going to be cheaper. Maybe he's on a contending team, and that's somebody that maybe you could trade away or pry away, because I don't know how good he's going to be, the rest of the season. It's been up and down a lot, and maybe they want some more production right away. And so I think if they were to get either a rookie quarterback, or even if they go out and say the Falcons make the playoffs, right, and they lose in the wild card, I think their team is solid enough, and that conference or that division is not that good. And depending, it really depends on what all that happens. But I think they're like a good quarterback away from being a really solid team. We all hope that Arthur Smith gets fired, for Kyle Pitts, for Bijan, for everything. We all want that really badly. And I have a feeling that'll happen, but we don't know. But I still think if they were to get a quarterback, Drake London will rise, because he's a very, very good wide receiver.
Yeah, definitely possible if a quarterback shows up. But we were kind of talking pre-show before about the free agent quarterbacks that could be available to them, and it looks like it's either Kirk Cousins, which people would get super hyped about, or Ryan Tannehill, which people probably care less about. I would be excited if Minshew Mania walks through. That would be cool for Drake London.
Sure.
Yep.
We've seen Gardner Minshew be able to support some dudes. So
yeah. But I think honestly, I think they'll probably go the route of, depending on how they end the season, obviously. But I think they would go the route of the rookie quarterback. Obviously, Desmond Ridder is not the quarterback of the future. I think we all know that. So I just think he has.
Does Arthur know that though?
Yeah. Who knows what Arthur
be there?
Yeah, we hope not.
So. I think actually a few weeks ago I saw a tweet that said that they planned on retaining Arthur Smith.
Well, let's just see. There's a lot of football left.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot
definitely.
Of
bad losses
could definitely change. Yeah.
So he's a guy that I think will rise. May not rise, but right now he's a guy that I think in the offseason you can go out and try to get, because he's a bit cheaper.
What would you trade for him? What would you try to give up to get Drake London?
So given a late one,
I will. That's so.
See, because the
cost you at least
wide receiver draft class next year is
that's what I was just gonna say. The wide receiver class is really good. So I would actually hope to have maybe like a DK Metcalf or somebody that will give a contender production, and maybe I can get a Drake London, and then I don't know, a plus, maybe like a third round draft pick, or maybe a late second, right? It's because if I have a late one, I'm probably contending, and I don't think I want Drake London right now, just because of that. We don't know what production he's going to give us week in and week out. So that's more my thinking. And honestly, it could be like an off-season thing. So I should have looked into a little bit more. Maybe Spanky, if you can check and see any recent trades for us while I talk about these next few guys. But I do think the trade value for him is a bit cheaper. Right now, I think he's a bit cheaper right now.
Sure, so definitely.
A couple other guys I have real quick. I have 2 tight ends. They talked about them. They talked about both of them last night. But Luke Musgrave, I know Spanky's not a huge fan, but I think he is a good tight end. He needs to stay on the field. Spanky will talk about that in a minute. But one I like a lot more is Michael Mayer. I know Spanky likes this guy. So I think Michael Mayer will rise in the offseason, because we don't know what's going to happen with the Raiders. They definitely will get a new quarterback. And so I think he will definitely rise. And he's staying on the field. That's one big thing. We did know when Aiden O'Connell was going to be the quarterback that he would definitely take a dip, just because they're really targeting Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers a lot. And so that's a guy that I really like, and I think it takes some time with the tight ends. And so I think both of those 2 guys are going to be pretty cheap, so they're not going to give you too much production. So if you're definitely, trying to figure out if you're going to be a contender or a pretender, go ahead and go grab one of those 2 guys. And then I have 2 wide receivers. One that I really like, Jalen Hyatt. He actually had a really good game last week, over 100 yards. And then this is kind of like a dart throw. I've liked this guy a ton, but Marvin Mims, I think, is actually going to be pretty good next year. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, but I do think Marvin Mims is somebody that's going to be used next year because I do know Sean Payton went out and grabbed him in the draft.
I think.
Let me touch on Luke Musgrave. He's well. Let's not go that route. Luke Musgrave, dude. I don't think he's ever finished a season like in college or in the obviously in the NFL he hasn't. He just got put on IR and he missed seasons. I think he might I think there was one season at Oregon State where he played like 10 games, but he can't stay on the field. He has all the talent in the world, and that's great. But if you can't stay on the field, it doesn't matter. So,
right.
If his value does go up, I'm gonna try to ship off all of my Musgrave shares just because at this point we've 4 years in college and 1 year in the NFL, and it's like the dude can't stay on the field. So, what are we doing? Like,
I agree. I have the Arthur Smith quote real quick. The only way Smith isn't back as the team's coach in 2024 is if there's evidence that players are turning on him or the team completely unravels.
Yeah, I kind of remember hearing that, and who knows? I mean,
right.
I think there's a lot of, like we said already, there's a lot of football left. And Greg, I like this. Tank Dell for London and Komet. I like that a lot.
I went Tank Dell there.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
So
Tank's out there performing. Tank's hurt again and not practicing again.
He's fine. He's a tank. He'll be fine.
Right. 5'9", 160. He's a tank.
I didn't say what size tank he was.
It's a mini tank.
But Tank Dell, he's wide receiver 12 on FantasyCalc right now. I mean, maybe this is a prime sell window, but
yeah. So I think that is I don't know, but I disagree here with Spanky, but I do like that for Tank Dell, and I like London and Komet because I do like Tank Dell a lot, right? He's a bit smaller. I think he's going to continue to be pretty good, but I think when Drake London gets a quarterback, and I think that's going to happen in the offseason, he's going to be back in that top 12.
Okay. That's the dangerous game, though. It's like you can play the game all you want. It's like, how long did we talk about? When DJ Moore gets a quarterback, or like, when whoever gets a quarterback, and then they don't.
Look what
Tank Dell has one. CJ Stroud and Tank Dell are arguably like going to be like a nice centerpiece for the Texans offense for the next at least like 4 or 5 years, right? So, like, I get where you're coming from. I just give me the guy that already has the quarterback and the rapport with the quarterback too.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Look at what Arthur Smith has told us about how he feels about quarterbacks. He was perfectly content rolling Marcus Mariota out there. He's been content with Desmond Ridder. We've seen Taylor Heineken. I mean, this just reeks of me that Ryan Tannehill is coming to town next year because he can operate the Arthur Smith offense. And we're just like, dude, like how much more Ryan Tannehill do we need to see at this point in time? Yeah, maybe he can recapture the old Tennessee magic because he's reunited with Arthur Smith. I kind of doubt it.
Definitely. I could see them doing that, but I definitely don't think that's a good idea. There's no reason for them to go out and get Ryan Tannehill.
But that's going to happen, though.
It could.
It's familiarity. Go where you know.
It totally could happen.
Yeah. I disagree on your Marvin Mims too. I'm sorry, Holler.
That's fair.
I think he's Deontay Hardy for Sean Payton.
Disrespectful.
Well, I don't. No, just in the fact that he's his punt returner. He's his gadget guy. He's his tricky guy. He's the one, he does explosive things. Like he really does that. But as like wide receiver standpoint is all I'm saying.
I think though the biggest thing is at least how I take this is I don't think both of Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy will be back next year. I think one of them will be.
Yep.
And so then Mims kind of steps into a bigger role.
How long have they been on the trade block for? 3 years, 2 years?
Well, Sutton has an out in his contract after this year.
Yeah. Okay. And then I would like to see how if Judy what his contract's like as well. But I think
it's his 5th
I know
year in a rookie deal, right?
Rookie deal, yeah.
So then he might be on his way out as well, right? And they both, I think,
if they don't pick up the 5th,
right.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm coming from. Is I think he's somebody that will, once the offseason hits and those two guys are both free agents. I don't know off the top of my head if that's it, but then right there he has that narrative of moving up. Then again, we're gonna wait and see if they pick a wide receiver, and there's so many wide receivers in 24 that could happen, right? And so honestly, though, the one I like more is Jalen Hyatt, because even if they were to grab a second wide receiver, which they should, he's going to kind of step in, and I think he's going to start at the back end of the season, start to really pick up steam.
Yeah, they need a quarterback. I think.
They do.
That's the problem there as well.
They do, but it's good to see he's actually producing with, like DeVito.
Danny
DeVito. Yeah. So it's cool. I mean, it's good to see. He was not producing for quite a while, and then last week he had a really good week. I really will be interested to see how the end of the season, how it shakes out for him. But I think that's another guy right there that there's going to be some veterans that are on their way out. Another guy with another year under his belt. Right. And so I think it's those two wide receivers. I think I like Jalen Hyatt a lot more. So I think, those are both guys that could rise in the offseason.
McSpankster?
Yeah, I went a little off the beaten path here.
Something
he's not going to cost you a whole heck of a lot or maybe anything. Trey Palmer, man, Tampa Bay. So this one, I was kind of looking at him. He's buried. He's like no one wants him, but he's actually been pretty good. So he's been on the field a bunch, actually. So he's been on the field for 334 passing snaps, and if you compare that to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Evans has been on the field for 374 and Godwin 403. So he's been on the field a ton. The last 5 games, Palmer's averaged 5 targets a game, and next year Mike Evans is gone, right? He's pretty much out the door. Like his contract got voided after this year. Like he basically said too that he didn't want to come back to Tampa Bay. We said earlier in the offseason. So between him, Godwin, I mean, they have a
there's
they
an
have
out
a ton
in
of
Godwin's
needs,
contract too, I believe.
I think there is. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and Trey Palmer's been fine. He's been producing a decent amount. He's been on the field a ton. Like, this is the guy that, he may not be like a wide receiver 2 or a 3 even, but he could get you through some of these bipocalypse, or injury-ridden things and give you nice flex options next year. So just someone to keep an eye on. And I think he's a guy, too, you could honestly just throw into a deal as kind of like just give me Trey Palmer and we'll call it good. Like not necessarily the guy you go out and try to get, but you kind of toss him in and stash him on your bench.
That's a really good stash. Unfortunately, I had to throw him into a deal today, but I got TJ. Yeah, I got TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, I did, but it's okay. I got TJ Hawkinson and who was the other one? I don't know, but that's a contending team. I think I'm in second or third, and so I got TJ Hawkinson and I got Jerome Ford.
Okay,
so both I think will help me, to kind of push me through it. I think Ron's in first place in that one, so hopefully we can match up in the championship.
It's a rare league where Ron's
in first place. Yeah. Me and Ron both in the playoffs. It's very rare.
Yeah. Usually I'm skirting the outskirts of the playoffs, just hoping to get in and make some noise. All right. So Dynasty Theory did a whole huge episode pretty much yesterday about Kyron Williams. So if you guys want a whole bunch of Kyron info, just tune into their episode yesterday. That's who I picked as my value riser. And I don't know so much as his value can rise because he's kind of at that late first right now. But what I think could happen is it could stay steady, basically. And
do you know where he is right now?
I think he's like RB 8 or 9, right?
9.
Prices I'm unwilling to pay for someone
Holy smokes.
5-second 40 time.
It doesn't
but
matter.
He can ball, man. I know he can ball. He really can.
I don't know.
With them checkdowns, though. What did I tell you? Theo Riddick.
Kind of what Ron said. We won't get into it too much. You guys should just go and watch Dynasty Theory. They talked a lot about Kyron.
They broke them all down yesterday.
But I do think he's going to stay steady. I think he's going to be a solid back next year. Right there, that's too high for me, so I'm not going out and buying any. That's way too high. they went through some trades last night, so I'm just gonna kind of have everyone go and watch.
All he needs to dodge is free agency in the draft, and then him staying steady is a win for Kyren Williams, basically.
Yeah, which you never know what the Rams are going to do. I mean, they finally have some draft picks, so I'm assuming, I'm hoping they stay steady and just start to kind of build up that team, because their team is not great, but it's solid right now. They have a chance to make the playoffs, and so I think Kyren looks good. With Matthew Stafford just dropping the ball off, I think the wide receivers are good. That's why Puka's good. So I think Kyren's going to stay steady.
They need help on the offensive line and
they do
on the defensive side of the ball. So I think they'll spend draft capital there as opposed to replacing Kyren, who's been really good.
I totally agree, and that's 100%. I hope that's what they do, because like Sean McVay's a really good coach, so they just need some more depth.
Sure. Should we hop into the Week 13 matchups here?
Let's do it.
Okay, for buys, we got the Ravens, Bills, Bears, Raiders, Vikings, and Giants.
Bipocalypse.
Yeah,
man. Oh my goodness.
Again. This is a bad one at a bad time, because there's a lot of teams that I have about half my starting roster on buy, and I'm fighting for a playoff spot, and I'm just fighting back the tears. So, but we're all in it, so we'll see what happens.
Hell yeah. Okay, so Thursday night we got Seahawks at the Cowboys, and my biggest thing is, are we concerned about Geno's future?
I am
about the Seahawks.
No.
Okay.
Just because of his deal, like he still has a decent amount of years left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken. And I think their biggest problem hasn't been him; it's been their offensive line's been a jumbled up mess. And it's just like no quarterback would have been doing very well there. I think they're going to invest to protect him and their running backs rather than replacing the quarterback.
Yeah, who's the right tackle? The 40-year-old Jason Peters is their right tackle, I believe.
It's because they had like two like young guys.
Got hurt.
I think one of them got banged up, and then the other one got banged. Their line's just been a disaster. I think I'm less concerned about Geno as I am just the line's been horrible this year.
Okay. So fair. It will really depend on how they end the season, but I think they could go and get a quarterback in like say they're in the middle of the first round, or like in the second round, because there's some. But I think that would not, like next year. I think Geno would still play, and then he would the quarterback is not going to be one of the top, obviously the top two, but I think there's like three other quarterbacks that I think could be like pretty good.
Maybe one that plays in the Pac-12, also on a green team
right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
just a little south in Eugene,
right? And then, but Penix would be good too to go there, and so I mean, would be super cool, right? And so one of those two would be good, and not go right away, and see. But so I don't know. I just for Geno the future, he had a really good year last year, and I don't think it's only him, but I think it's a little bit of him as well this year. So I'm a little worried to see what they would do.
The Seahawks have been willing to be aggressive too when the opportunity presents itself. They went out and did that Jamal Adams deal. So that was a pretty big deal when that one happened. They've made a few other moves here or there, and they'll go get a guy. So, hopefully Geno can stick around. He's not writing back either way. Okay. Should we move into the early slate on Sunday here? We get the Falcons at the Jets, and I just blah for this. I think this Jets D could shut this down and make this nasty, to be honest with you.
I mean, maybe, but here's the problem is like when you're on the field for 75% of the game, like the defense is, like you can only do so much before you get exhausted. So I don't know, man.
Sure.
I agreed with you.
Point.
With Beehart, I agree with you. That's kind of what I was kind of going for, is like if they were to pick up a rookie quarterback, and it just really depends on who they get. They're not going to, so we can talk about that more when we go to offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So with this Falcons and Jets, I don't know. It just depends on the week with the Jets for me, but their defense is really good. But I think if the Falcons use Bijan some more, I think I think it could be the Jets offense can't do anything. Really can't do anything. It's abysmal.
Fair.
So
fair.
Like I'm thinking about sitting Breece Hall. Like if I have better options,
he's banged up too now.
Yeah, right. So just I don't know. That's kind of what I was talking about with Aaron Rodgers. Is I think they're going to lose this week, so they're going to go to 4-8, right? And so I don't understand the rush because I think they could be a really good team next year when he's healthy.
Mm-hmm. That is very possible. They're really going to knock it out of the park in the draft, maybe fix their offensive line issues as well. You guys want to move on to these Colts at Titans here. Do you think Gardner Minshew has earned himself a starting spot next year somewhere else? I don't think it'll be in Indianapolis, obviously. Anthony Richardson.
The nice thing that he has going for him is that it's a weak quarterback free agency class, and so and I think worst case he's proved himself to be a premier like backup, right? So someone that he's going to be, I don't know, maybe he go. Honestly, what would be nice for him is if like the Giants grabbed him. And if Daniel Jones decides that he's Daniel Jones again, throw Gardner Minshew in there with some good coaching, and that could be
that team could be good, right? I just will depend on what they do with Saquon, right? If they can get Saquon back, maybe, and then I definitely think they need a good. I 100% agree they need a good backup because Daniel Jones always gets hurt. It's like, and he has really up and down, but I really don't think he's earned a starting. Like he's played well, and Indianapolis is there. I mean, I think if they were to make the playoffs, people will think about it, right? I think we talked about it already. I think he'd fit in really nicely for the Falcons. But I don't know if it's just me. Like I just don't see him as a starting quarterback. I always just see him as a backup, just coming in and when things go, injured and stuff like that. So
he hasn't gone pumpkin like he has previously during his little stretch throw. So if he can finish the season and lead them to the playoffs, which right now they're in a playoff spot. So the Titans game this week, like it's a divisional game, and sometimes those games get weird. But the Colts should win this game even without Jonathan Taylor, right?
Yeah, they should. Yep. All right, should we move on to the best game of the weekend here? Lions at Saints.
Yes.
Jared Goff's turned the ball over 6 times over the last 2 games, and Hendon Hooker just started practicing today. I am happy.
Really?
I don't know if we'll ever see Hendon Hooker in replacement of Jared Goff, but I'm going to keep pounding the table that Goff will never win anything with Goff because his lack of athleticism. And if we just had just a minimal amount of athleticism, you could run away from a pass rusher like one time in a game, like the offense would be that much better.
He very much just needs perfection around him.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, he did go to a Super Bowl. Now, granted, they didn't win, but he did take the Rams to a Super Bowl.
Right.
So I was just going to say,
like the rushing champion that year.
He was,
and they had the CJ Anderson playoff run that got him paid. I'm just saying.
He quarterbacked the team that went there.
I think Ron did say though that he won't take them, or he won't win them a Super Bowl, right? So he can probably take them to the Super Bowl, but I think they need somebody a little bit better to actually get them to win. But I think he looked really good in the beginning, so maybe he's just having a little bit of a rough patch. I'll be really interested to see how he does this weekend and moving forward.
It was also against 2 division teams, and say what you want. I mean, the Bears and Packers don't have like great defenses, but I mean, just divisional games, you're more familiar with the teams and the looks and everything. Let's see how he does against the Saints before we hit the panic button. And on the other side of the ball, is Derek Carr on a short leash here? He's been playing like just dog doo-doo.
Yeah,
yelling at people too.
If I was the coach, I would because I think it's rough with Jameis because he's going to throw interceptions, but I think he kind of can put them in a better spot. Like their offense
more swagger,
moves better. Yeah, their offense moves a bit better. But Derek Carr throws interceptions as well once he gets to the red zone. So,
right, and then what do you get screamed at over it?
Yeah, either way. I mean, I think he should be on a short leash, and because I think the Saints had. Like in the beginning of the season, I said that the Saints could do really well, and I fell flat on my face.
That offense is bad.
Yep.
And Noah Olave and only Alvin Kamara and Rashid Shaheed is their wide receiver 1.
I think he's banged up as well.
Thomas is on IR. Yeah, Shaheed is also on the injury list. Quick note on Goff: his dead cap hit next year would be $5 million.
Huh.
That's nothing.
That's not bad.
Right.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, just
Ron's been writing his.
I've been trying to get rid of Goff since we traded for him. To be honest with you, this is probably the loudest I've ever been about it.
How good would the? This is kind of weird, but how good would the Lions be right now if they had Matt Stafford?
Well, that's hard.
I wonder if he's
from
right.
This
is true, and I wonder if he's like regretting, having to get his ass whooped a little bit and be put in the dirt. And Goff's got this nice offensive line in Detroit, and for 12 years he had no offensive line.
I think he's all right though. He got a
he got a Super Bowl.
He won a Super Bowl. I think he's fine.
Yeah. He's a tough guy. All right, Broncos at Texans. This Broncos D held Mahomes and Josh Allen both under 20 points.
Broncos defense was playing really well the last few weeks. They were horrendous. They have really turned around the last month of the season, which is kind of crazy.
Sean Payton.
Sneakily the hottest team right now. I think winning 5 in a row. So I think this is could be a good game. The Texans are a very solid team.
Yeah.
And so I think this could be a really good game, a fun game to watch.
Oh geez, don't tempt me, be hurt.
Yes, go Broncos, Greg.
I
have no problems with the Broncos.
Let's not go that far.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Spanky. But CJ Stroud, QB4 on the season. How about that?
Yeah, dude, he's been awesome.
Didn't see that one coming. That's for sure.
Yeah. They made a good call. So, I mean, hopefully, Tank Dell can play. I think we talked about that. If he's banged up a little bit, but man, and Nico Collins, like this Texans offense is humming. And Devin Singletary has been playing really well, surprisingly, out of nowhere. So, this would be a good game. This is a sneaky good game, and with actually some playoff implications on the line here too. So,
man, it's so wild. Who would have thought the Broncos and the Texans would be fighting for playoff spots?
It's going to be a good week of football. That's right, B-Hart.
You're right. You are right about that. It's kind of a mess down at the bottom of everything right now, really. Tank Odell. Oh, man. I hope he doesn't have the blonde hair soon and all the drama that comes with the Odell name. Anyway. Yeah. Chargers at Patriots. Is Mac Jones going to start?
So I was looking at this today. It sounds like the beat writers are all saying that Bailey Zappi took the majority of the first team reps. But I think the bigger thing is that does it matter who's starting?
Nope.
They both suck.
They both are terrible.
I don't know. That is bad, dude. I don't know what. I mean, I think Bill Belichick's halfway checked out. I think Bill O'Brien doesn't know what he's doing. He's just kind of throwing guys out there. There's not a lot of talent in New England. It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like Pop Douglas, but I think that's not good when he's your best wide receiver.
He's like 5'8".
Yeah, that's not good when he's
Tank Dell's 5'9".
That's a big difference. That inch matters.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, jeez. That's what she said. Anyway, so QJ benched though. I did not realize he was benched.
So
then they said it was injury related.
They said it was injury related after the fact, but I don't know if I buy that. I think they benched him because he sucks and he kept dropping everything. And then they kind of were like, "Well, we spent a first round pick on him. He was actually a little bit hurt."
Sure. What do you think about his future? I mean, everybody was all, woo baby, let's go QJ. He's dead.
He's dead.
Yeah,
he's gone the way of Jalen Reagor and other first round wide receiver busts.
You think you can get an early 2 for him right now?
I doubt it.
You have to be
you can maybe get a late 2.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find a truther. I feel like someone that really believes in him.
Any second, honestly, I'm taking. I only have 3 shares of them, but if anyone offers me a second for him, I don't even care the year on that second. I'm taking it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think I have 1 or 2, and it's really hard to move them. So, I don't know.
0 shares, 0 cares on that.
I just can't wait for the Chargers head coach to be fired because that team could be
Brandon
so
Staley.
good. Yeah, I can't wait for him to be fired. He should have been already. I don't know what they're waiting for.
It's a franchise problem. It's not a Staley
I was gonna say I don't think it's a Staley problem. It's Staley hasn't helped himself whatsoever. But I'm with McSpanky as a franchise. Like they did this with Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees. I mean,
That's fair.
Drew Brees went and won a Super Bowl in New Orleans, and Phillip Rivers is probably could have been a Hall of Fame quarterback, probably still will be based off of his numbers, but the signature wins just aren't there.
Yeah,
because of what went on. I don't know.
He'll be a Hall of Famer for the amount of kids he has. Holy smokes!
Yeah, what's he up to now? 11?
I think 10 or 11. Yeah,
10 or 11.
Lord,
yeah.
Good Lord, man! I wonder how many nannies he has, dude.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he has money to support them. It's not a big deal. It's not like if we had 10 or 11 kids,
right?
Yep.
Oh, geez, man. All right, Cardinals at Steelers. So Kyler only had one rush attempt last week.
Yeah, was that game script dependent though? Just because they got down pretty big kind of early there against the Rams, and it was more of he threw the ball like 45 times or something crazy. So
if he drops back 45 times, wouldn't you think he'd take off?
It depends on if they were scheming like quicker passes because of Aaron Donald in the pass rush. I mean, it could have just been.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was gonna say a little bit because that Rams pass rush is really good. And they got down quick. The Rams actually had a good game, and I was watching a little bit of that one, and I think it has a lot to do with game script, and so I think he'll kind of be himself again this week. Although the Steelers do have a really good pass rush as well, so it will be interesting to see if he can get back to that. But I don't know. I think this game should be pretty good because the Steelers' offense is meh. I know Kenny Pickett had a much better game. They put together some good yards. They could not get into the end zone, but they put together a lot of yards.
Okay. He didn't turn the ball over.
First of all, good call, B. Hart, the human Dortch, Greg Dortch.
Yeah.
But yes, Kenny Pickett. Fact or fiction, Kenny Pickett, the firing of Matt Canada released Kenny Pickett to be himself as the offensive players.
It didn't hurt. I think it. One game is we'll see if it happens. He strings together 2-3 games, then I'll add a little more confidence. But I like what I saw. I didn't like what I saw at Deontay Johnson. He looked wholly disinterested. I don't know.
Oh my goodness!
What happened with
Kenny Pickett's throwing him the ball.
Yeah, Jeez, but
I'd be disinterested too. I've been out there running around all year long waiting for this dude.
I don't know. Man.
I didn't think he was the drama problem. Queen. Yeah, I thought it was Greg Pickens. I thought it was George Pickens. They're both big. Like, what is it with Antonio Brown? And then now they have the Steelers always have these drama king wide receivers. It's frustrating.
And they like him. I like that at running back too. Lev Bell was the same way, man.
Yeah,
made Pickett's hands bigger. So he had no turnovers as well.
I put that in all caps because that was important.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal for Kenny Pickett to make it through a game.
Almost 300 yards throwing the ball. I know you didn't score, but you didn't turn the ball over. 72% completion percentage. Like, he was making some nice throws. Like, Freiermuth actually looked alive and well again. Like,
the Moose.
Cautiously optimistic. Granted, I have a lot of Kenny Pickett shares, so that might be skewing some of this a little bit. Don't look at me.
Oh, my Lord.
I hate myself just as much as you do right now. It's fine.
What an admittance. I don't hate you, McSpanky. I just wish that you listened to me. That's all.
I wish.
I'm just kidding. Don't listen to me about everything, just about Kenny Pickett.
And you can listen to me about Bo Nix.
I'm not listening to you about Bo Nix. I'm not. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you.
You're going to miss out.
Listen, I'll have him you guys will be dumping water on your heads over Bo Nix when he is not drafted in the first round of the NFL draft.
What makes you think I don't do that regularly?
Because you're practicing? Is that why? You just practice?
Never mind.
Practice makes perfect.
It's going to go down a not a good place. Anyways, Dolphins at Commanders.
Should be a points bonanza, shouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
so.
I know the Dolphins will put up a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders will let Sam Howell stand back there and let it rip too. I mean, Ramsey might have a couple pick sixes.
Yeah, true. That's what my worry was with the Commanders. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Sam Howell is going to be the quarterback of the future, but he's putting up good fantasy numbers for anybody that's putting him in their lineup. And so
I don't see why he couldn't be though. He's doing better, and he's improving week to week, I think.
Yes, no, I agree. I'm kind of on the fence still if he's going to, right? But I went out and I spent a first and a second, and I got back Sam Howell and Trey McBride. So I felt like that was really good at tight end premium as well as in a random league. And I just sent it away. They were both on the trade. And I only had one quarterback because I think I can't remember who was on a bye, but somebody was on a bye. So I needed a third quarterback, and I got Sam Howell. And so, I mean, I don't know if he's the quarterback of the future, but I've been impressed with what I've seen, and he is, like you said, getting better each week.
I think they have bigger problems than Sam Howell on that team, and so I think the way he's played, I think it's bought him at least another year. As a starting quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. We will see, because they also, what's their record? Will they be in striking distance for Jaden Daniels?
They're 4-8. They currently have the 5th overall pick in the NFL draft. So that's dangerous.
Oh, they could go up to 1 or 2 and get Drake May or Caleb Williams from 5.
Or take.
You're gonna get Brock Bowers. Just wait.
Yeah, they do need to replace old man Logan Thomas, but
I saw that on Twitter from some stupid account. That just, how good would that offense be with 2 wide receiver ones and Brock Bowers? I was like, 2 wide receiver ones. I don't think they have those, but
they maybe
have me the wide receiver one.
Yeah, right.
They don't even throw to him, and his name's Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. But no, I think say they have the 6 through 8. I think that would be perfect for them. But they need other things as well, so I don't think they would.
Yeah, there are other positions.
That roster's pretty bad.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But hey,
what's his name?
They would use him.
Yeah, he did a job.
Yeah.
Panthers at Buccaneers. This is kind of the stink bowl, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I think the Buccaneers probably walk through with a win pretty easily here with the way things have been going for Carolina.
There's always, just stay frosty. That first game after a team fires their head coach, they usually play a lot better than they have been previously. So, and it's a division game.
Fire up.
Baker can Baker for you every once in a while. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Make sure you're firing up Adam Thielen this week. I think they're going to target him a lot.
Does Bryce Young? Do we think he's a thing, or do we think he's out of the league in 2 years? Because I'm kind of leaning that way.
2 years.
I could go either way. But I would like to see who they get. I would like to see who they get for their coach, right? If they get a good coach that can help develop him a bit more, then I think he will be in there longer than 2 years. It's kind of the cop out, but I think I need to see a little bit more. I've seen some. He's been okay in some games, and I don't think Frank Reich really put him in the best position to succeed. But I don't know if it's really the coaching or the owner. So I want to see a little bit more what that owner does with the next coach. And I think that the owner needs to let that coach be there for at least a full season.
The problem too is that, Bryce Young's kind of in a bad spot where it's a very talent poor offense and roster in general, and they traded away their entire future to get
Lucky
him.
for them, they have pick 33.
Yep, true that.
Do they have it?
Okay. I think they still have that one.
Good Lord.
Yeah, they do. They have
a wide receiver. Just pick up.
They didn't
give them something.
They did.
Yeah, they didn't get rid of.
One.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew there was a 2 in there. It must have been a later 2.
I think it's
a
later year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll be watching Bryce Young a bit more, and I think we'll learn a lot more, who depending who they get. And I think next year will obviously be the telltale and see if he's going to be anything or not.
Sure. Okay. This is probably the one that everybody's waiting for this weekend. 49ers at Eagles with Brock Purdy in the game. This could be the NFC Championship matchup as well that everybody wants to see so badly. I'm excited for this one just from a football perspective wise of watching this game. Fantasy wise, you got to fire everybody up here. These are your studs, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's fully healthy for this game, right? Both sides,
Goddard.
except for Goddard. Sorry, Goddard. Yeah,
Goddard, Snob, and I think. But I mean, other than that, I think everyone's should be good to go. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, should be a good, really good game. The Bills Eagles was really good last week, so I think we're gonna get something like that again. I kind of can go both ways, like if it's good for fantasy or not. I said it again, yes,
we're
I think it'll end up being good for for fantasy because they're going to use all their players, and so I'm really hoping Dallas Goedert plays.
Yeah, me too. I would love to get some Goddard back into my lineups, that's for sure. Okay, Browns at Rams. Myles Garrett was seen in a sling after the game last week. If you guys don't know who Myles Garrett is because you play fantasy football and you don't care about defensive players, he's one of the best defenders in the league right now. Yep. He's he's a sack master. He probably makes that defense go, honestly.
He does. He's a very good player.
Could this be kind of the end of the dominance for that defense, over there in Cleveland? A little less scared of the Browns D.
They're falling apart a little bit. They're declining, and then on the offensive side of the ball, it's a disaster too. I mean,
I saw declining.
Joe Flacco is taking first team reps in practice.
Whoa,
this week.
Yeah, baby,
that's never good.
It sounds like Mark Cooper's going to be out this week, so they don't really have any good weapons.
You guys remember 2009 when he won that Super Bowl with the Ravens?
Like
barely
12 years ago, man.
Yeah, I can barely remember that.
Oh my god!
I'm impressed you can remember that, Ron.
You know why I remember that one is because that's when the power went out.
That was Beyonce.
The Harbaugh.
That's right.
That's the Harbaugh Bowl.
Right.
The Harbaugh brothers coached against each other in the Super Bowl. Ray Lewis's last hurrah, and the defense wins it all for Joe Flacco, and he gets paid $1 bazillion. Anyway,
wow.
Yeah,
it's a Kaepernick Super Bowl too, right?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah. Wow.
Never to be heard from again after that.
Screw Joe Flacco, Greg says.
Wow,
that's fair. He does not like Joe Flacco.
Yeah, man.
It's a weird.
That dude went to Delaware, Greg. He went to Delaware.
I think
he must have
took out Denver in the playoffs a couple times.
Probably, yeah. That would make sense.
Fire up your Rams this week, I feel like.
Yeah. Let's get the Rams
for sure.
going. You think Cooper Kupp back to form, or is he El Dunno? He's 31.
I think he'll be back to I think he'll be back to form. I think he was still a little bit injured last week. And also they were like way ahead almost the whole game. It was
like
so
Kyron Williams show last week. So it just everyone else. I mean, Puka didn't have a good week last week either. It was just
He luckily had a touchdown, but he had I think 30 or 40 yards or something. So it really wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Kyron put the team on his back, and everyone else just sat and watched him.
Yep. I had fun watching. Yes, please, Greg, get those damn Rams wide receivers rolling again, please.
Yeah. We all love to see Stafford slinging it. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs at Packers. Is the Rashee Rice breakout incoming? Somebody says that it's already happened because of his 8 reception, 107 yards, and 1 touchdown. The only thing I'll say about that is based off of what, from what I've heard, from what I've listened to, on a weekly basis, is none of it was scripted to Rashee Rice. It was all like kind of freelance plays. Yeah. The thing about that is, though, that's kind of what Mahomes does with Kelsey. This is all kind of freelance in here. It's not really like any offense. Like
80% of the Chiefs' offense is Mahomes just kind of doing like the design of the play gets busted, and he's just like, well, let's just figure something out.
Yeah. So I don't feel confident in saying he's going to be the breakout because I still think it's going to be. You never know who's going to be other than Kelsey. Who's going to be which wide receiver is going to actually get the ball. I mean, I like what I've seen so far of Rashee Rice much more than I saw from Sky Moore last year and even most of this year. So, I do not think the Pack can beat the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will be just fine. I think it'll be a solid game.
Has been playing really well the last few weeks, by the way.
Yeah, he has.
I know, Ron, that pains you, but Jordan Love's been playing awesome. So
he sure has. Yep.
he's not dead. We were writing him off. I just give him credit where credit's due. He's put together a nice last month or so. So
he sure has. It should be a good Sunday night football game. I feel like, I was thinking, oh man, I wish they would have put like the 49ers at Eagles there.
Sure.
It would have been cool on Monday night as well. But I think the Sunday night football game will be solid.
Chris Collinsworth.
Oh, he's never.
He just got to drool over Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
you're not getting the Chiefs could have been playing. Sorry, McSpanky, but the Raiders at week 13, and Collinsworth would have said, "No, you keep him up here. I don't care how bad this game gets. I need to talk about Patrick Mahomes." The dude is mentioning Patrick Mahomes 8 times a game, and he's not even playing in the games he's announcing. Whatever, man. Why are we talking about Mahomes right now?
Yes, I'm with you, Greg. I'm loving Jaden Reed. I really am. I think I got Ron was hating on him in the beginning of the year when
I'll continue to do it. He's a punt returner.
He continue on, so he definitely is much better than a punt returner. So
he is. I'm telling you, dude. He's an electric punt returner. He really is, man. But the guy that now covers the Lions used to cover Michigan State. That's where Jaden Reed went to school. And the whole thing he would tweet out about Jaden Reed was the quarterback of Michigan State was Peyton Thorne, and he would say, Peyton Thorne says, "F it, Jaden down there somewhere," and he's just going to let it rip. So that's kind of what Jaden did all the time at Michigan State too, is this 50-50 jump ball, even though he's not really a overly large guy or overly fast guy. Like, he just wins them.
He did better than Keon Coleman did at Michigan State.
Yeah, which is odd, but that's neither here nor there. But Keon Coleman crushing it now, that's for sure.
He is. Yeah.
Peyton Thorne is a really terrible quarterback. If you guys watch that Michigan State tape.
Bengals at Jaguars Monday Night Football.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Just gonna rail this back in.
Yeah. I got it. All right, T. Higgins, is he going to be healthy? What was he got? His hamstring going on? Does it really even matter with Jake Browning playing at quarterback? Because he's probably only going to be able to force feed Chase and not much else other than that.
The Jaguars have a good defense too.
Yeah. And again, the Jaguars are, I think, number 1 in the right now in the AFC, so they're doing really well. That was another one of my teams that was in the beginning of the season sneaky, pretty darn good. And I think Jake Browning is just not good.
No, yeah, he's bad. But Trevor Lawrence, man, I think a couple weeks ago we were talking about how he's been bad. He's quietly put together back-to-back really nice games. So
who should we talk? Who should we say is bad? So we'll get back on track as well. That's the two guys, Jordan Love and
Jared Goff.
All right, Jared Goff sucks.
Jared Goff is awful. There we go.
Perfect. Hendon Hooker is practicing today, Jared. I mean, you better step it up.
Yep,
he needs a lot of practice.
Yeah, I think the Jaguars are going to roll over the Bengals.
I could see it.
So too. I think so too. Well, should we get in a 2-minute drive real quick?
Let's do it. Let's hear your winning bet this week.
Eagles, Broncos, Jets are all underdogs. Give them all to me.
Nice. I got a lock of the week here. Which now that I say it out loud, I feel less confident. But anyways, the Pac-12 championship games on Friday night, Oregon, Washington. The over under that game set at 66 right now. I'm smashing the over.
Oh yeah, smash it. Definitely, I agree with that. And I'm all eyes on that game. It's gonna be really good. Bo Nix, Penix, Romo Dunze, Troy Franklin. Boom. So many good guys. I'm stoked. And mine is just that baby Pook is doing well, the wife's doing well, and I'm pretty sleepy. Good, everything's good.
Perfect. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here before I keep talking shit. All right.